centre stage. The better he is! Farmers are going to triumph, and what a triumph it is! The sweet sound of the
I got to say, that was a lot more inspiring last week. Good evening, everyone, or good morning, or whenever you're listening to this. We're the Don Pod. We're back to preview the Dons game against the Lions Saturday afternoon at Marvel. Chance for redemption, shall we say? Shall we hope? Perhaps.
That's what they keep telling us, Sam. That's what they keep telling us. Good evening, Sam.
It's nice to see you, literally.
Nice to be seen. We've gone with the
at the hangar, of course. You're in the coach's room. I'm in the hangar.
As you was, I'm in the offices. You know, keeping away from the outside. And you're with the people, Sam.
I'm with the people.
Kind of person you are.
I'm a players man. I don't know. Moving swiftly along. Yeah, Lions. Marvel. It doesn't get any easier after a demolition against the Cats.
Hey, how are you feeling, Sam? How's your week been? How have you dealt with the week?
Thank you for that perfect tee up. I'm just going to play a little sound and.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
That was a lot funnier in rehearsals. Soundboard's back. Can I use it a bit more this week?
Yep.
Right, let's crack on then, shall we? Teams. Aaron Francis, Jake Stringer and Sam Durham, and essentially Cutler in for Braden Ham omitted, Kane Baldwin omitted, Kyle Langford injured, 3-monther. How good. And the old Rusty Martins pulled up with the old health and safety protocol.
I mean, seriously, our best player.
Bit sad, isn't it? Yeah, but the first of many, I'm sure, to be out with the old HS protocol, which is disappointing.
I did see a few from West Coast had that too in the naming of the teams this week.
Yeah, it is going to hurt everyone. It just sucks for us a little bit that he was sort of our one little shining light last week.
It must suck for him. Like, he's played an absolute blinder, and then goes to play second week.
And he gets bloody COVID, yeah. Anyway, that's the time we live in, and like I say, we're not going to be the only ones dealing with that. So,
no, you're right.
Just have to make do. Now, that is the teams for Brizzy. Mitch Robinson is out suspended, which I'm not opposed to. He's the kind of guy I don't like losing to. Mitch, if you're listening, sorry. Just don't like it.
Yeah.
And their sub, whoever their sub was last week,
Motlop.
I apologise. Motlop wasn't. Okay. Remains in the side. Now, the last five.
Not Motlop, sorry, Sharp. My bad.
Sharp.
It was Sharp.
I didn't think of. Yeah, anyway.
No, Motlop played for Port. I was looking at the wrong name. My bad.
I thought so.
Why don't you say something?
Well, because I don't want to be wrong, I guess. We do a lot of research here on the Don Pod.
Well, not other teams.
Yeah, clearly. We're biased.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to just go through some of our history against the Lions. Last two games, we have lost by 57 and 63 in the last two. Last time we beat them is in April 2019. Waller kicked 7 that day. Long may
No, he's not in.
No. Damn it. We beat them time before that, and then it lost to them, a narrow loss before that. So, they've got the wood on us, you'd say, over the last little bit, but that kind of correlates between their rise and our
demise.
It's not a demise. We've just been the same average sort of side for
That's fair enough. Yeah, fair point. Yep.
Now, we did want to touch on a player of interest at Brisbane. One to watch, as it were, and then I'll lead that into you talking about their team. Lockie Neal.
Oh, yeah, Lockie Neal. So, from an opposition sort of looking at their team, as you said, Mitch Robinson's out, which is not a massive player for him. He's a pretty handy player, but
He's useful. Yeah.
they're still a pretty good player. But the players that we've got to be worried. A couple of things that I noticed in the team listing. One, as you said, Lachie Neale. So the last two games he's played against us, he's had 30, I think, 3+ touches and kicked 2 goals. Now, Dangerfield last week and Parfit, I don't know the exact stats, but and Guthrie, they had a pretty cruisy day floating around the midfield. It'd be concerning if you're in fantasy. I'd nearly put the VC on him or the C from that perspective. But we've got to have that midfield team defense orientated. We know we don't tag, so it'll be interesting to see how we try and negate his influence, because he will definitely influence him, and he will be the next challenge, kicking the ball forward, which he does do well, because I've noticed that they've listed Oscar McInerney as the ruckman, which is fair enough. But on the bench, they've got Darcy Fort, who came from Geelong, middle-aged sort of ruckman who's come out of Geelong, and middle-aged, in that he's probably in his early 20s from Geelong. But so Fort will be 200 centimetres. Obviously, McInerney's 200 centimetres. Then up forward, we're still dealing with Joe Danaher and Daniel McStay, who again over 200 centimetres. So big boys. And from our perspective, I don't know how to read into this, but the thing that jumps out at you is obviously Jaden Laverde is named on the half-forward flank, and Franger is named at centre half-back. Now, do you reckon that's just...
My theory with this is, don't read into the positions within the grouping of 6. So if, Mason Redmond named at full-back, that doesn't bother me. But
I agree with that.
If Lav is named on the half-forward flank, in that forward group of 6, and Francis is named in that back group of 6, I'm sure there was a better way to word that, that tells me they're playing in those positions.
Either that, or they were playing little funny buggers with the fact that Franger will actually play forward. Yeah, but do we really need to do that after last week? Is that?
I'm sure we're not doing that, to be fair.
We better be not, Sam, because I'm going to be interested at first bounce when they pan around. I'm going to be looking where those 2 players are. My thought was, I wonder if because of the extra tools, because Laverde have to play back. He's a bigger, stronger. Who's going to play on McStay? And when Darcy Fort's down there, seriously, who?
Look, it's going to be a stretch, and there was a press conference today, you said, from Truck, that I think the quote was that there will be changes in our forward line this week, and that could well be it. I know we were gunning for 2 ruckmen. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
But...
Well, and in this example is that Brisbane are playing that style of football where they're going in with 2 noted ruckmen in Fort and in McInerney, yet they've still got those tools in the forward line, very tall too, Danaher and McStay, which most teams probably don't have that many tools. But if we look at Melbourne as an example, we know that they play the 2 ruckmen, and Ben Brown and McDonald's fairly tall, so they go in with that really tall forward line plus the extra 2 ruckmen. So I'm noticing that more teams are doing it. GWS have picked Flynn and their other ruckman, Bruce, plus their tall forward. So,
it's a little.
I wonder if we're missing a trick
now. Yeah, I harp on a little bit, and I don't know on the pod or just between me and you about. You look at the best teams. So I spent 2, 3, 4 years looking at Richmond, going right. How do we be them?
Yep.
And now you look at Melbourne and go right. What are they doing?
That makes
for
sense
us to get near that level. And I mean, we don't have the cattle, first of all, but you're right. 2 ruck. One's pretty agile and versatile and can play forward. I mean, Mac Gorn can play forward too. But I don't see why. And you said this is your theory. I don't see why Brian can't be in that side, just even as height, to give their defenders something else to think about. Stops us having to play Laverde forward, which, I mean, he wasn't a great forward, was he? That's why he's a defender.
No,
now.
I still don't think I think it's Francis at forward and him back. I still think they're just playing tricks on us. My other theory there is that when the ruckman Draper goes off to the bench or has a rest, and Peter Wright comes into ruck. Now Draper might go forward also, but we know his forward skills, not great. But sometimes he has to go to the bench when Wright goes to ruck. Now that leaves our forward line without an option of marking forward. And to me, that's a concern because that's what I'd love to be able to keep Peter Wright up there as a permanent forward, then have the two ruckmen, the forward ruck and the midfield ruck, we'll call him, swap. And that'd be the strategy.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it today that, everything I just said about having Brian in it gives you that bit of height, whatever. But, we're critical on Wright for last week and we're critical on Wright because he will kick 7 goals and then disappear. What does that do for him? If he's just a stay-at-home forward, he can take a pack mark. God knows he can kick a set shot. It's not just the impact that Nick Bryan would have on that forward line. It's the effect on his teammates.
Yeah, that's right.
The fact that Brisbane have to put a defender on that because even though he's played one game, he's 200 centimetres plus.
Yep.
You can't not mark that, man that up. So it's an effect onto Peter Wright, onto Jake Stringer, onto... let's say Laverde or Francis, whatever might happen there. It's huge, and I'm with you. I can't understand it, but and I can't see us. I can't see us winning this game, and then we sit here on Sunday and go, "Oh well, maybe they got it right."
Yeah,
not saying that we are right, and if we did play Brian, that we would win. But geez, you got to do something else when we are so short. Really. It's a weird forward line. It really is.
I don't know what the negative is of playing someone, Brian. Like, I guess you and I have talked about, we think Brian's a pretty good player. And if he doesn't get senior time in the next year or two, he'll be looking to leave the club.
Well,
he's at that age.
He will get off.
Yeah, he'll get offers. He won our best and fairest last year. Now that's,
VFL.
In the VFL. But that's, it's a questionable year because of, COVID and stuff like that. Still shows that he's a pretty decent player. Yeah. So
the game he played was against Carlton, and he didn't have a lot of the football, but you're not looking for much. You're just looking for. Put the bins out, Nathan. You're just looking for. He picked up the ball all right off the deck. He kicked the ball all right. His field kicking was good. Yep. And that was about it. But I don't need much more than that to say give the kid a go.
No. Yep.
And we were so pro last year on giving kids a go. Jones, Cox.
Yeah. I think that's my view too. That he's another kid I'd like to just see play and see what we've got.
And while we're playing Brisbane and Melbourne in the next 2 weeks, we got nothing to lose. Christ.
That's right, yeah. I guess the other elephant in the room we should talk about.
It's not very nice.
Is the midfield and how they will go after last week. Now we've read all the articles, haven't we? And we've seen that they had a dinner together and and all that sort of stuff. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, we were talking about this earlier, and I said we actually expected to see Hobbs at this point in time.
Yeah,
we thought we might see Hobbs in. So I made a comment that chuck Hobbs in the middle straight away, straight from the get go, chuck him in the guts. Yeah.
Yep.
You made a very good point that if these mids have gone out for dinner, which is a bit of a funny thing to say, and have really sat down and gone, look, boys, that wasn't good enough. We're better than that. Then what you said, and you're absolutely right, chuck them straight in the middle. Straight away, give them the chance to go, that was not good enough last week, and here's how we're going to make up for it. And, Merritt, Caldwell and Parrish are the three named in the middle. So I'd say we've done that.
Well, that's right. I want those three in the midfield, probably less Caldwell. He didn't do as much wrong. But Parrish and Merritt, their first contest, they better crack in, head over the ball.
Nobody.
I don't care if they don't win it. Again. But 39 touches is pointless when you lose by 11, 12 goals. Pointless.
Make it 25 meaningful ones.
And get 10 clearances.
Happy as. Yeah, tackle, clearances.
Now, the other thing I'd like to bring up too about our team named, again, reading into it, well, that's what we're here for. We've got to read into stuff. The medical sub. Oh, you disappear when you do that, Sam. That's weird. The medical sub is interesting. If you look at the emergencies, it's not going to be Phillips. Okay, surely he's there in case Draper gets injured in the warm-up. That'd be the theory there. Braden Ham got dropped, so I don't reckon he's come back in. And I did hear Truck's interview sort of saying he needs to go away and work on some things, basically.
So
So
what I'm hearing from you here is a reason to get hyped.
Well, I'm wondering, and throwing it out there, is it Wanganeen will be the medical sub? Is this
Again,
how we're
all for
introducing? Yeah, all for it, of course. Well, it's what again we knew at the start of the year. What was our weakness? Small forwards. What do we pick up? A Wanganeen? Hello.
Hello. Yeah,
But as an emergency, as obviously a medical sub, it's an interesting choice, because he's not going to become. But I'd say it's between
none
him
of
and
those four players are what I would deem to be a good medical sub. Tom Cutler is a good medical
No,
sub because he can kind of play
Tom,
anywhere.
exactly. Agree 100%.
Zirk Thatcher is a defender out and out. I can't see him lining up at full forward. Ham's small, so he's
no good.
really has one thing. Phillips is a ruckman, so only really has one thing. Wanganeen, I mean, he's quick.
He's only going to be a small forward,
Bit of an X factor in his first game. Like the opposition doesn't know what they're going to get from him.
Yep.
Hopefully 5 goals, and I'll chuck some money on him for the Coleman.
Yeah, don't go into that. See, I would have thought if I was naming the team, I would have thought Wanganeen would make a better small forward, and then I'd have Laverde and Francis as my extra tall defenders, so that I've got to cover that height. Like, I know the ball's going to hit the ground and we'll be able to carry it out, but they do have some good small forwards. Charlie Cameron's, Cam Rayner, Zach Bailey, and Lincoln McCartney. Hello, they can all probably kick. They would have kicked. Charlie McCartney, Cameron would have been second or third or fourth in the
He's up there.
Coleman last year. He would have been right at it, the pointy end. So
again, we do our research
anyway,
here at the Non-Pod.
we do well.
It's a podcast based entirely on guesswork, but pretty accurate guesswork.
The Guesswork Podcast by Sam and Nate.
Yeah, we're renaming it. It's official.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, 2 things I just want to raise. I want to just circle back a little bit to the midfielders. And we talked about Lockie Neal. Last time we played them round 5 last year at the Gabba. Not sure if that was the game that absolutely drove down rain or if that was the year before.
I think that was.
Feeling it was last year. Yes, because Reed played, didn't he?
Yeah, Reed played. That was his first game, and he injured himself. Never played again. Well, so he played since.
Driving down rain, we let Brisbane kick 15 goals, and they had 27 shots at goal to our 6 goals 9, so 15. Yes, that's good maths. Now, what I want to point out here: Lockie Neal 37 and 2, right? Jared Lyons 35, Hugh McCluggage 32 and a goal, Daniel Reach 31, Dane Zorko 26, Joe Danaher had 25 touches and kicked 2 goals.
Oh my God! How many goals do you reckon Joe will kick against us? Sore point.
7.
Come on. I think we were talking 10 earlier in the week, were we? Sorry.
I'm going to keep going with my point and then we'll circle back.
Sorry.
Right? So, we've just been smashed in the midfield, and the last time we played Brisbane, they smashed us in the midfield. So, again, guys, those buddy mids have to be on from the very start. Conversely, our mids, Zach Merritt, 35, no impact on the scoreboard. I'll save you time here. None of these players had impact on the scoreboard. Yeah, Merritt, 35, McGrath, 30, Langford, 27, Parrish, 26, Heppel, 24, Nick Hine, 23, Archie Perkins, 20. They are our leading disposal getters, and there is one behind between them.
It's our biggest. Well, it's not one of our biggest.
The next big concern there is our leading goal scorer with 4. 4 of our 6
was Tip and Woody.
Was Kale Hooker.
Oh, cool.
Waller kicked 1, and Jake Stringer kicked 1. So I mean, Jesus, we're going to have to find some avenues to go. My second point,
and we don't have Rusty.
Which we don't have. We don't have Rusty Martin. God, I hope that's
best player in the competition.
That was class from you, Rusty Martin. My second point that I wanted to go back on then has just escaped me because you mentioned Rusty Martin.
Oh, sorry.
Oh dear.
We'll just go play music.
Okay. No, actually, I remembered it. But
thinking music. Come on.
Use my soundboard. I didn't pay $0 for nothing. Don't forget it again, Samuel. Don't forget it again. Every aspect in football, like when you talk about height and Brisbane's height, has a flip side, right? And that is that 100%. They might be susceptible to a ground ball.
Yep, 100%.
And if we're shorter, theoretically, we might be better at the ground ball. We don't really have the polish of players, especially with the small forwards again, which is where Tex Wanganeen would make sense and could actually have an impact if he had to come on.
Yep.
Or even if there's a laid out, that might be okay. Just because they're taller and bigger doesn't automatically mean Danaher's kicking 7. It just depends. It's concerning that we played them in the wet and still got thumped last time, and now we're playing them on a flat deck under the roof at Marvel. And
that's right.
They are a good side. It's not like Geelong where we sat here and argued about whether or not they're good. Turns out they might.
This is a team that's young and in their prime and coming through. You know, they've been in the top 4 or 5 sort of the last couple of years. Yeah, they've failed a little bit at finals, but it's only by kicks. Like yeah. Well, they lost the game last year by a kick against Port, didn't they?
It was Dogs by point.
Dogs by point, sorry.
Yeah.
So they're a good side. This is a quality side. This is a top 3, I reckon, easily side.
Well,
and if we don't,
we talked about my premiership team. If it's not Melbourne,
exactly. Yep. If we're not switched on at the start, it's gonna be worse. Now, the question I'll play to you and everyone else: how we feel at the end of this game. If it's a pasting again, how will we feel if it's 2 goals?
No, God!
Oh, sorry, I went early.
There's a history of that.
Jesus. I don't like honourable losses. I'm not one to celebrate that. What I will celebrate, or not celebrate, what I will enjoy seeing is if those mids dig in and have a good game of football. And if we lose because we just haven't got the cattle up forward, or we just haven't got the cattle down back, whatever it might be, then I will be okay. Not happy. Never happy to lose.
No.
But you got to be realist about where we are. As a side,
it'll be about
Brisbane are as a side. And you got to take your little wins out of that.
It'll be about those numbers in the clearance and those inside 50s that we'll be looking at. Like, if we're even with them in those numbers, but we just can't convert those sort of things because of the quality, you know, we don't have a Joe Danaher sitting down there who when he was at our club, we rated him quite highly when he was at our club. So I still can't say he's not ordinary now. So, you know, they're and Cameron and these sort of guys. So they've got quality in their forward line, and they've got different heights. They've got different options, leading forwards, marking forwards, crumbing forwards, you know. So they're going to outscore us, I'm sure of it. The thing for me will be clearances and inside 50s. And if we can be around the mark in those sort of things, then we'll see what happens.
Just work rate. Like,
yeah, of course.
This works both ways. I've been ticked off when we've won, but we've played like crap. Like, it goes both ways. I'm not...
Yeah.
It's not all about result for me and you, I'm sure.
It is for me.
Win's a win, absolutely. But
win.
When
you can be ugly.
When you're talking about us and a club that hasn't won a final for however long, I wanted to see good footy. And we saw good footy in patches last year, and that's why we were up and about for a little bit, because we saw a glimpse of we might be okay. But there was no, I mean, apart from Rusty Martin, there was no, we might be okay about last week. I went back to post-2020 me, who was like, oh my God, sack everyone. Like, trade them all.
Well, I think there were emotional challenges during the week for myself from last week. If Nathan
wasn't in front of a sponsors board, you'd see a nice dint in his fridge behind him.
There's no need to tell people that, Sam, that I'm a violent...
No, he's not violent. He's just emotionally invested in it.
Frustrated. Oh, that happened in about the first quarter too, I'd like to point out.
That is the first time he's ever told me he's punched anything, and I've known him for at least 3 years. So take that as you will. All right.
Sydney lost. The Sydney loss all those years ago. That caused a punch in a door. But been renovated since. It was always going to get renovated.
I was in a hotel that night. I couldn't punch anything, but I wanted to.
All
right. While we're on this, get in the comments. What have you broken? What have you broken because of food? This is like a real Triple M segment. I need like a 1-300 number or something.
My dad used to throw radios. I used to see him throw a radio.
I have broken a laptop screen. 2011, I think it was, when we beat Geelong. Geelong were undefeated, and we beat Geelong with that Melksham goal from the goal square.
I remember the one.
The week before that, we got pumped by Hawthorn. Absolutely pumped by Hawthorn. And I
Is
just
that
did this little mindless flick of my laptop screen, and it's
mindless flick. Maybe that's an omen. Like, you remembered that story, and we've got flogged last week, and now we're
I
playing
need
a
to
better
break a
team.
screen. I got 3 of them. I can smash
Yeah,
them.
break a screen.
Just
Come on,
for the
Sammy.
sake of us winning.
For us. Yeah, look.
Seriously though, get in the comments. Tell us what you've broken. That would be fun.
Yeah, I agree. That would be fun. We can all just remember how sort of human we are, and how
And while
much
we're-
this emotion gets to us.
Emotion. We are emotional about football.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject of getting in the comments and
Mhm.
interacting with us here at the Numbot, I've got something to show people. This is probably
Sammy.
90% of the reason why we're on camera.
What? It's not because of our amazingly good
Brutish
looks.
good looks. Probably not. We'll leave that to the viewers. Don't comment on that though. We're better off.
No,
not
you can
knowing.
comment. I know I'm pretty good looking. You can admit I'm pretty good looking. That's fine.
Something about Silver Fox. I have a football. Oh, it's gonna disappear. No.
Well, that makes the mystery. Oh, well, that's to the mystery.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no, that's working.
Okay, so you can tell it's a football. You can tell it's signed. I apologise that Zoom's
The
being
signatures are a bit.
If you saw what was behind
hard to
me,
read.
I mean, it's
It's
soccer
you don't want to
related,
see it.
and if you
people.
don't agree with my
Yeah,
soccer
you don't
team,
want to
you
see
probably won't like me anymore.
You
We have a football. We want to give it away. We just need to win. Once we win, we'll give it away.
Probably what we're predicting round 5, 6.
Now, we did think we were a chance in round 1, so we were fully prepared to give it away in round 1. It's not a ploy to keep it going because we want to win. All right, let us off that one. All you have to do is just subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's all we ask. Be here. We've gone up about 30 or so in the last week, which is fantastic.
We had some good comments last week.
Some great comments. Someone gave Nathan
on Monday,
vote
sorry,
just for being grumpy, which is fantastic. Love that. We are the Glory and Fame Don Pod on YouTube. If you're listening to this from another avenue, it'll only grow. For now, it's just the podcasts, but we've got some ideas.
It's 2 people who like to talk footy, feeling though maybe other people would like to hear or get involved.
A lot. So that's all you have to do. Subscribe. When we win, we'll pick a subscriber at complete random, and you'll win yourself a signed footy by the Dons in 2022. How good. All right, moving on very quickly. How do we win? Is there a way we win this game of football? Come on, be positive.
I don't. I can't. I mean,
put your numpty cap on.
Your numpty cap. Like, seriously, our midfielders. It has to start in the midfield, obviously. The midfielders have to dominate. We have to see. You know how we've talked about that. We think that this midfield group is in the top 4.
We might be wrong.
We have.
Yes.
Yeah, we looked like it last week. We have to see that this week. We have to see a domination in the midfield and just continually pump that ball into our forward line to the fact that they cannot defend. Now, history tells us that's
not going to happen. And if we
not going to happen
because we need to keep it in there.
Yeah, we need to keep it in there. The history tells us that they will pump it into their forward line, and we will not be able to stop it, and they'll kick goals. So I can't. I usually see a glimmer of hope in games. Like even when we're playing the best team, we're on the bottom ladder, like this week. I still say, there's a chance for us. There's a chance for us. But this week, I just cannot see it. I can't see such a mass. And I think the fact that it's played at Marvel, probably under a roof. If not, it'll be a dry, flat surface. So,
which for once doesn't favour us.
Well, at least it will help us a bit, but it will also help the other team personally.
It would, it would have to be a pretty shocking performance from Brisbane to let us get ahead.
And they're not going to let. Yeah.
They're not that kind. Well, I don't think they're that kind of team anymore. I think they're a genuinely good side that don't let teams like Essendon and teams around that bottom 10 in.
Yep.
So I'm with you. I think it's going to be I can't see how we win. But it is a little bit of an Essendon thing to do, to beat teams when we shouldn't, equally as it is that we lose to teams when we shouldn't. So we'll watch it. We'll watch it with hope and dreams.
We've seen us get up before against the odds. And, that Geelong one you mentioned, and there's been ones when Hurd was... When Hurd was in charge, there was some game, some of those games, and it just felt like the world was against us, and we got up. And if we can, I don't know what reaction I'll have. I don't know who I'll be and how possibly drunk I could be that afternoon. Because
I will almost be annoyed because if we're capable of beating Brisbane, I'll be sitting there
that's a
going,
good response. I love that.
we could be 2
We're-
and zip. Like, come on. You let you.
That's a fair point. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Don't. It's better off just to be the happy Essendon supporter.
Yeah, no, look, anyway, I think though, going in watching it, I can be a little bit more calm watching, knowing I see a loss coming, and then I can be surprised by a result. Whereas with the Geelong game, I really felt like we were going to be competitive, if not win it, and to see us get caned was horrible to watch.
Well, I think that was the key last year. We didn't expect to be as good as we were, and so you lower your expectations and then you exceed them. Playing bad footy is not the worst thing about footy. Expectation is the worst thing about football. Ask Carlton.
Yep. Yeah. Good point.
They'd know it in spades. We were realistic that we're not going to be playing final. We didn't think we'd be playing finals this year. We thought we'd be about the same mark.
Yep.
But getting thumped last week's kind of put a dent in that. But
Yep.
I forget my point here. I'm just waffling. But
No. Well, my last thing too was going to be how much influence do you think Jake Stringer will have on that team too after coming back? Like, he's had a pretty interrupted sort of second half of his pre-season. Sort of be interesting to see how much midfield forward.
I was going to say that. I'd be surprised if he plays a lot of midfield. I'm sure he will roll through, but probably for his benefit and his fitness, it would be better to just keep him predominantly forward. And if the game does get close and you can chuck Jakey Stringer in the midfield,
Firsts, yep,
awesome. But yeah, I'd hate to see him roll through the midfield a lot and then do a Langford. And yeah,
he better not do a Langford. The first contest, I just want him to get through it. Oh, God,
that would completely burst my bubble. It's 90% burst already, but that would really,
you're right.
Really do it.
If he was, God, geez, I'm going in with a negative attitude this game. I'm sorry to anyone listening. I don't know how everyone else is feeling, but it's a struggle emotionally.
We do pride ourselves on being honest about where we're at and what we think, and not to be one of these podcasts, I guess, and not just Essendon, but sporting in general, where you're just really positive about your club and we're the best ever. We're not. Like, we need to be real about.
Or even I know a lot of people saying last week, it's just round one. Now, I said to you, and I think it's a valid point, you can do that in round 23. Like, round 23, you can just roll. If you're out of the 8 and you just roll up and get flogged, fair enough. Yep. We've all sort of go, yeah, fair enough. Round 1, no. If you're not up and about busting to go, like,
it's the time to be pumped.
Yeah, you have sleepless nights, energy levels,
After coming back to pre-season 2 weeks earlier than every other AFL club.
Yeah, I'm talking that up. Can we play Herbitron's little?
No, just
have a link. Can we have a link to that
on YouTube? Herb, if you are listening, love your stuff.
Oh, it's brilliant.
We Are Essendon. Just go watch it. It's really quality.
It's brilliant.
Essendon.
It's a very good piss take of what happened last week.
Great piss take of the club, and sometimes you need to have a giggle.
Oh, gotta have a laugh. Can't laugh, Sam. You die.
Oh yes. Well, eventually. Now, we didn't do this last week. Probably for the best, because we would have got it very wrong. I need your tip.
Bombers by 1.
So glad the camera's on to get that reaction.
Why can't we win it, Sam?
Well, for all the reasons we just spent the last 34 minutes going through.
Yeah, but we did this last week and we got it wrong, so there's just as much of a chance we're wrong this week.
Be that as it may, I am going to say, I'll say we'll put in a better performance, but Brisbane by 27.
I thought you might have said like 50.
Head or heart? Because the heart's saying Brisbane by 27. The head's,
the head's saying 10 goals.
Is 127.
Do you know how much lower can our percentage get, you reckon?
Could always be less. Could always be less. All right. Well, that might do us, I think. Get in the comments and talk about what you've broken because of football. I think that'll be really fun if we do lose, just to have a bit of something like that to go through.
Yeah. And mention the game too, because I think they're we all
and
go,
what
oh
game
yeah, I
was
remember
it?
that one.
Yeah,
That
what game
hurt.
was
That
it?
one, yeah.
You get 10 points if you've somehow managed to break a Nokia phone from 2005, or probably a bit later than that. I don't know.
A flip phone.
One
I had one of those
Nokia
flip
bricks.
phones back in the day, Sam.
Same, actually. Back when texts
No,
cost
was
25
it
cents.
yeah, they weren't Nokia, they weren't flip phones, but the Nokia, was it a 3210 or 3310 or something like that?
The
from memory?
Nokia bricks, you'll know.
Mm.
People will know. If you've broken one of them, you're lying, basically.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Enjoy it. I hope to God that it's somewhat of an enjoyable game, and then we'll dissect it all and speak to you on Monday. Go Dons.
Go Bombers! Come on!
I like it. Toodles.